Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be, wherever you are on this great big blue ball we call Earth, or disc, whatever your personal preferences are on the shape of the planet. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. I'm trying to adjust my microphone to set still here. My son is talking in the background and distracting me. Oh, he's making fun of me? Oh, that's great. Thanks, Thomas. You're a gem. You're a peach. Or a reasonable facsimile thereof. Anyways, hope you all had a great, fantastic, fun little weekend. 6 people watching. Is it 6? 6 people watching now. 6 people tore themselves away from Cecil Says to come hang out here. P Money, Aaron Alfetchy, Lady Celtic Moon, Xgal, and Captain Hiltz. Hey, that's almost all 6 of you. Eyebrow dancing, is there anything better? How about ear dancing? And Nick Sonata. Oh, there's one more person. Alright, so 7 people here. Thanks. And that's almost a 100% thumbs up rate. Too funny. No me, says Lady Celtic Moon. Look at that. I've everyone here. That's 100% chat to viewer ratio. That's got to be a first. This is aimed a little low. That's got to be a first. Fantastic. Uh-oh, now there's 9 people. All right, well, it lasted while it lasted. We do have 9 thumbs up for 9 people here. Captain Hill, Cecil is apparently going to be homeless and needs money. Well, I don't know exactly what happened. His sister came down and saw him wearing a mask and talking to the computer. How has this never happened before, is my question. How is she completely oblivious to the fact that he is a YouTuber? Oh, no notifications? I'm sorry, Michael Roth. Well, hey, let's fix that, guys. Share this out. You've already... How do I have 11 likes on only 10 viewers? Someone came and left. And we're only like 2 minutes into this. What's up, WK? That would be odd to see. Oh, walking in on your brother talking to a young girl on the internet while wearing a Lucador mask? Or whatever he was wearing? I gotta tell you, man, if I didn't need to get started with my day, I would be watching that too. So, but I like to do cross-examinations first. And actually, I was sitting here waiting for my plumber to get back to me because my sink is clogged yet again. Hooray! Which means we can only do dishes until the sink fills up. And then, it takes like hours and hours and hours and hours to drain. And then, we can do enough dishes that the sink fills up again. Not a good thing when your sink won't drain. 3 notifications in a row. Mike must be getting on YouTube's good side. Well, I'm trying to avoid certain words. From pulpit to politics. Apparently, neither of those words is redlining the algorithm. So, Mike's pipes are backed up. Wah, wah. Pour salt in sink. Salt. That's weird. An American preacher I was listening to was having water problems too. Patrick Swayze, you're not American? Are you Canadian?
No, he just wanted to state where they're from.
Yeah. Doxing. YouTube is getting annoying with its rules. It is. It is. And yet still they're still not the only game in town, but the primary game in town. And I still can't get my D Live to stream. So, yeah, pretty annoying. Try vinegar and baking soda. Salt, vinegar, baking soda. Any other suggestions, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Hydrochloric acid. Only the best people come from Canada, says P Money. I think he's a little biased. Oh, boy. All right, 19 people in here now. 16 likes. We have now gone below the ratio, the 100% ratio we had set earlier in the stream. Have you not set your kids on the computer stuff yet? What do you mean? What dost thou mean? Boiling water? Yeah, I could try that. Oh, send your... I could do it myself. I don't want to snake it. Snaking the drain is such a... Ugh. Plus, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because every time I use my snake, I don't know. It gets. I mean, they're just cheap. Those little hand crank snakes for your drains. They suck. And I think the drain, the clog is somewhere down the line because it takes a while for the sink to fill up, right? So it's not in the U joint. It's got to be like, I don't know. It might be somewhere along where the sink line goes all the way down to the main line, or somewhere around there. I really don't know. I don't understand it. Am I really going up against Cecil? Yeah, jalapeno milk. It's got to be the first thing I do in the day. That's kind of my own little thing. It's got to be the first thing I do, so I'm not going to sit here and wait for Cecil. I've gone up against Ethan. I've gone up against whoever. It is what it is. Hopefully people who want to come here and hear an hour of Bible-based, I don't want to say preaching. It's not preaching. I don't preach, do I? Do I preach? You know, it's interesting. I was at ministry, high school ministry last night. And I had just been thinking lately, it feels like I don't do anything there because a lot of I'll play the games with the kids. Whatever, we do 9 square. I help set up sometimes. But it just feels like I don't do it. And then yesterday, at the end, we had ministry time. And I was like, this is why I'm here. I really wish we would do ministry time more regularly because, you develop connections with some of the kids and they come to you when they have problems, but that generally speaking, kids don't just randomly come ask for leadership or mentorship or prayer or whatever. It's got to kind of be part of the message that drives them to be like, yeah, I need to deal with this issue right now. And I don't know, that feels like I'm helping, like I'm vital to being there instead of just being someone the kids can play the games with, and for Pete's sake, they're high schoolers. They don't need half a dozen babysitters. So you don't know? Well, maybe they do. Fire Dragon says, I choose to be here. Right on, Fire Dragon. Thank you. 2 people would you like, please? Sure. What? Yeah, well, there's 24 watching now. 18 likes. If you haven't, please hit the share button and share this out. Isn't Cecil on the East Coast? Oh, you know what? I probably also have people watching on Facebook. I was also talking to a friend of mine over the weekend who only watches on Facebook. So let's go to Facebook real quick and see. Am I streaming on Facebook right now? All right. Yeah. Wait, is that today's? From Pulpit to Politics. Yeah. All right. What's up, Andre? Which, oddly enough, is also the name of the person I was talking to this weekend, but it's not the same Andre. And David welcome, my Facebook friends. I'm not gonna. I probably also have people watching on Facebook, and I will check in. Here, and if there's comments that pop up on the Facebook, I'll say hi too. Ethan, okay, I'm here, Mike. Entertain me. This isn't about entertainment. Well, it shouldn't be. Hopefully, it's entertaining, but also enlightening. Andre the Giant. No, not Andre the Giant. I believe both of these Andres are somewhat limited in stature. Whoa, notified. Nice. You have gotten notified. All right, enlighten you. Let's go to 25 people watching now. I think that's a good time to go over to the comments from yesterday's show. Jay Hamilton said, very interesting episode, Mike. I wish I had been able to see it live, but as God said, if you don't work, you don't eat. That's right. PH says, a response to your reply about discipleship and church attendance. Aside from the sin of imperfection, which is basically the sin of sinning, why do I feel like I've responded to this already?
Maybe you read it before and you just thought about it in your head.
What sinned? Oh, because this... Okay, he said something similar. I did respond to it, but now I think he's reiterating or changing his argument. What sin does not come with a choice involved? None of them. Every sin is a choice. True. There's nothing you can say about the sin of self-exclusion that you can't say about any other sin. Eventually, we all meet up with a sin or two that comes with a choice that is too hard for us to make in our weakness, unless or until God gives us strength or changes the heart. No, it's still a choice. It is still absolutely a choice. Just like you said in the beginning, every sin is a choice. Right? So, you're too weak? No. The Bible says that you are always given it's paraphrasing, but you're always given an out. You're always given an escape from making the choice to sin. So there's literally no sin you can't avoid if you are willing to avoid it. So yeah, every sin is a choice. So yeah, that was my whole issue with the last time you asked, was that you said some of us can't go to church. And I'm like, unless it's a physical impossibility, it's a choice. So you can't your way out of that one. That has to be, if there's a church you can make it to and you don't make it, that's a choice. Now if there's a church you can make it to but you don't like, I don't know, the doctrine, maybe it's unorthodox or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what your particular situation is, PH. But most people can find a church that they can become involved with and a fellowship they can grow from. Jay Hamilton says, Mike, I was wondering if you could help clear something up for me. I sure can. I was having a discussion on Facebook with someone who said that angels are genderless. Never says that in the Bible. If that's the case, then why does it in Genesis 6, 1-4 describe the angels who came to earth and procreated with the daughters of man as the sons of God? Is that literal or figurative? I take it as literal. That entire section of the Bible is not. It's a historic. It's written as historic narrative. So if it's written as historic narrative, you take it as historic narrative. There are different linguistic styles in the Bible. There's poetry. There's hyperbole. There's whatever. But Genesis is written as historic narrative. Sons of God always, except for in prophecy, always refers to a direct creation of God. So only one man is ever described as a son of God in the Old Testament, and that is Adam. And every other mention of sons of God refers to angels. So there's no rational, well, there's no logical, maybe irrational, if you don't believe this stuff. There's no logical, contextual reason why you would excuse the sons of God in Genesis 6 from being angels, right? And it says the sons of God came down and married the daughters of man. So that's obviously two different categories, right? And yeah, there are, I was thinking about this because I did read this question before. Adam was made in the image and likeness of God, right? The first female was taken from Adam. So the angels pre-existed Adam. There's no record. I mean, if God was creating angels, at least in some sort of likeness to himself, there's literally never any suggestion or description of any female angel in the Bible. Yeah, it does. I mean, angels are called spirits at times, but we're part spirit. I mean, we're not part spirit. Part of us is spirit. We're all spirit. We're all. I don't know how to do that. It's like I don't know. It's like delving into multi-dimensionality. You know what we are? We're like onions. We've got layers. Onions have layers. So one of our layers is that we are spirit. And then we are flesh. Heart, soul, mind. It's all I don't know, it's hard to say it. We're all it's like they say, Jesus was 100% God and 100% man. He wasn't 50-50. Right? We're not 50% spirit, 50% flesh. We are all spirit and we are all flesh. It's what encompasses us. So what the exact breakdown of a direct creation of God called an angel is outside of my purview, beyond my pay grade, you might say. But yeah, there are no descriptions of female angels in the Bible, if that answers your question. God didn't say that. I don't know what you were talking about, Ethan. Have you talked about Epstein yet? Not today. I know we talked about it in a show or two, perhaps Aloha Hour with Edwin. I kind of think that it's possible that Epstein's in witness protection. So, kind of hoping it. Wait, not going to church is a sin now, asks Daterchip. Well, the Bible says, do not forsake the fellowship of other believers. We call that church. I mean, literally everyone is the church, right? Everyone, not everyone, but everyone who is an adopted son or daughter of God through the adoption of Christ, through the acceptance of Christ as your Savior and your God, we are the church. The entire body of the church is worldwide. Taking time out of your life to fellowship with other members of the church in little buildings we call churches. It's not that it's a sin, but it is a direct command that you don't forsake that fellowship. So You figure that out for yourself. Original sin was caused by Adam's choice, which affected us all. Descant. At Descant. What about original sin, though? Well, that's sin as in the nature of sin, right? We are all born with the sin nature, right? Anyone who's ever had kids knows you don't have to teach them to do bad stuff. You have to teach them not to do bad stuff. Kids are born sinful. They're not born accountable because they don't have that understanding, the knowledge, of I don't know. They're just ignorant. But once they reach a point of accountability, then they are going to be held accountable. Till that, we're held accountable for them. Original. What's up, metalhead? Except angels don't have children, according to Jesus. Or does it make a difference if one is human and the other angel? No. What Jesus says is, in heaven, they are neither married nor given in marriage. That didn't say anything about having children. P-money. And if you're all male and there's no homosexual angels, well, it doesn't matter. If you're all male, you're not having children anyways. Trust me, this is a fact. Mistletoe said, you can pretty much find a decent church teaching rightly on basic non-negotiables. Yeah, orthodoxy, yeah. Anywhere in America. We are body, soul, and spirit. A trinity like God. Yeah, that's easy way to say it. It's easy way to say it in sort of a just flippant manner. I was trying to get to a deeper understanding of it, but apparently I'm not that deep. James Hayes, somehow discussing angels as if we are trying to figure out how to breed dogs disturbs me. Nikki Harris, Chuck Missler spoke on a lot about it. Yes, he did. Yes, he did indeed. Nephilim. Yes. Genesis 6. Captain Hilt says, I believe angels are male in image only, but have no gender. They don't procreate. Well, then you're going to have to take it up with Genesis 6, Captain Hiltz. Unrelated. I mean, they don't procreate with each other. Because you can't, if you're all... there are no female angels because angels are based and logical. Angels do procreate, says Patrick Swayze. Not with each other. What do you think about the book of Enki? I always thought it was a cool fantasy plot. Enki? You mean Enoch? Well, it might be just a different spelling or a different language. Yeah, I think the Book of Enoch is... That would be a really fun book to translate into a visual medium. Yeah. With human ladies. Hence we got the Nephilim and then the flood. Sounds like legalism, Mike. What? Saying that you should obey the Bible? Jesus came not to destroy the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. Not one jot or one tittle shall in any wise pass from the law until all things are fulfilled. And actually the scripture, the line before that is something about until the earth is done away with. So it's not until all things. So some people try to say, well, that means, until the Bible was completed. Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that. That means until the Bible was completed. No, because the previous line is until the earth passes away. So you can't say the earth passed away in 318 AD or whatever when the Bible was. No. Edwin says, there is a pointer to understanding some of this in 1 Corinthians 15, starting around verse 35, terrestrial versus celestial. Well, let's do that, shall we? Let's go to King James Version. 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15. verse 35. Okay. All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another of beasts, another of fishes, another of birds. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one, the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. So also in the resurrection of the dead. All right. Actually, let's go to Blue Letter Bible for that. 40. One Corinthians 15. 40. And interlinear, there are celestial, which is Iporanios. Strong's definition: above the sky, heavenly or high. Celestial, heavenly, high. Other uses: heavenly Father, heavenly things, celestial bodies. Heavenly. Blessings in heavenly places. Alright, so above the sky, heavenly places. High places, heaven, heavenly. Alright, so celestial, it could have probably more easily understandably said heavenly instead of celestial. Celestial, especially in modern context, people think of space. Existing in heaven, things that take place in heaven, the heavenly regions, heaven itself, the abode of God and angels, the lower heavens of the stars, the heavens of the clouds, the heavenly temple or sanctuary of heavenly origin or nature. All right. And of course, terrestrial should just mean terrestrial. Earthly, in earth, existing upon the earth. Right. Yeah. Yep. That is certainly where angels are supposed to embody, but what does that mean for... Oh, shoot, let me go back. What does that mean? There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. But they're both bodies. I don't know. It's a good question. I kind of stick to like the clear teaching. This is, it speaks to it, but it doesn't really clarify, at least from what I'm reading, from what I understand. Hey chat, what's up, Peter Mike? Is soul and spirit not the same thing? It is a question I don't think I am prepared to answer. Body, soul, and spirit. I know we tend to separate them. Actually, that's a good question. Let's see what the word soul became a living soul. First use, Genesis 2:7. 2:7. Soul is nefesh. Soul, self, life. Person. Actually, let me go to the Strong's definition. Properly, a breathing creature, i.e., animal of abstract vitality, used very widely in literal accommodation or figurative sense, bodily or mental. Any appetite, beast, body, breath, creature, deadly desire. So I think you would, soul would be, if I had to boil it down, the essence that gives the physical life, right? whereas the spirit is the eternal. Like your soul and your spirit. Well, let me see spirit. Genesis 1:2.
So there's no composite from another.
First usage. Ruach.
Yeah, there's
I already knew that actually.
no. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, he's a green poetry.
wind, by resemblance of breath, a sensible or even violent exhalation, figuratively life, anger, unsubstantiality, by extension, a region of the sky, by resemblance of spirit, but only of a rational being. So any creature could have a soul, but only a rational, I think in modern context we would say any sentient being would have a spirit. So a spirit would be that which recognizes itself, whereas a soul is just the life force that so it's since we do tend to separate the two, and there are two very, there's some crossover in the definition, but the difference, I think, being is the spirit is that of a rational being. So your cat might have a soul, but it has no spirit. You know what I mean? But we have both because we're self-aware, conscious. Which I guess you would require a spirit in order to sin, because without self-awareness, how can you sin? Right? So animals don't sin. Be interesting not to have... Anyways. I miss Chuck Missler. Me too, Patrick Swayze. Your soul is your conscious self, says Data Chip. Exactly wrong. Your soul is, at least according to the meaning of the word soul in the original context of Scripture, you're talking about your spirit. A spirit is a sort of physical form like the angels. Again, no. The Apocrypha is not Enki. That's pre-Christian. What is Enki? Sumerian. No, I haven't read that. Wasn't it inspiration for that weird Noah movie? Oh wait, how far are we? I do have to get from pulpit to politics at some point. And we are over the 30-minute mark. Sorry. We'll come back to some of this if the topic doesn't spark any discussion from y'all. Because that is an interesting topic. Maybe that's one I should focus on for an entire episode sometime. Bing! Pow! From ChristianHeadlines.com. From pastor to politician, faith leaders are poised to make moral change by running for office. A movement is stirring amongst evangelical pastors eager to enact change in America. Later this week, nearly 400 pastors and leaders will meet in Lynchburg, Virginia, to discuss how to successfully restore Judeo-Christian principles across the country through political elections. The American Renewal Project, started by political influencer David Lane and his pastor Rob McCoy in 2015, aims to train pastors and leaders in political sessions while also encouraging each of them to run for office. I am convinced that the pastor and pews model was instrumental in the 2016 election of President Donald Trump, and has been instrumental in numerous statewide elections for congressional, U.S. Senate, and gubernatorial races, said Mike Huckabee, former presidential candidate and Fox News contributor. Sorry. According to CBN, I'm not boring myself. I'm just tired. According to CBN, ARP remained active during Trump's campaign, where the president won 81%. So my sink is clogged. So I didn't manage to make my coffee today. That's why I'm tired. That's why I've got to figure this out. Maybe I'll run to the coffee shop. Oh, you know what? I could just go to Albertsons. They have, you know what? I've said this before, but if you go to the Albertsons and you buy like the dark roast Starbucks coffee, I know, squirrel, total tangent. It's actually better than the coffee you can get at Starbucks. So I might actually go do that instead. 81% of the white conservative evangelical vote. ARP spent $9 million in the 60 days before the general election in 6 battleground states, including Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina. In 2015, ARP launched the first ever Issachar training sessions. Issachar, which comes from 1 Chronicles 12:32, are men who understand the times. The next year, around 200 pastors volunteered to run for office. In 2018, 300 more stepped to the plate. ARP's goal for 2020 is for 1,000 pastors to appear on ballots across the country. David Lane's Pastors and Pews training session are having an effect across the country, Newt Gingrich said to CBN News. Missouri is a perfect example of this impact. Missouri's pretty far right anyways, isn't it? In 2018, 6 pastors ran for state legislature in the state and 5 won, including 3 who won seats in the Missouri House. And just this last year, the House passed a ban. Oh, sorry. It's when I'm talking so much, it's like I don't get as much oxygen in, so I need to yawn. After 8 weeks of pregnancy, just this year, the House passed a ban on abortions after 8 weeks of pregnancy with no exceptions for rape or incest. ARP has its target also set on California. Should I run? Where nearly 600 pastors took part in the Issachar training in 2018. If only a couple dozen attempted to run in 2020, ARP believes this could be a game changer. In California and Missouri, we have evidence that trained and courageous pastors can change history, Gingrich said. Representative Doug Ritchie of Missouri, who also pastors at Pisgah Baptist Church, felt convicted to bring his faith into politics. The circumstances facing today's generation compelled me to serve my neighbors and become a member of the Missouri House of Representatives. The risks associated with public service required me as a pastor to prayerfully consider the dynamics of this political responsibility, he said. ARP began after Pastor Rob McCoy ran for the California State Assembly. Though he lost the tight race, his congregation became actively involved in politics. According to CBN, Lane says it was after the race that he heard from the Lord about this idea of pastors running for office in an effort to change the moral fabric of America. He asked his network of pastors to pray about it. It's caught on like wildfire. Senator James Lankford, Republican, Oklahoma, who has spoken at several ARP events, believes faith leaders must stand up. Some in our society try to silence people of faith so their voices are not heard, he said. But faith leaders, like any other American, have a role in our government and in our elections. We are grateful to live in a country where any person can speak and organize. If people of faith sit in silence, we surrender our right to speak for the importance of every life and to wisely stand up for our core values in this culture. I don't think I'll be running. But I do think it's important. I think it's important that a majority, frankly, sink clogged, so won't make coffee. I'd hate to see what you do if the toilet ever gets clogged. It is so much easier to unclog a toilet than it is to unclog a sink. Anyways, do it, Mike. Run. No way, man. No way. I was such a crappy human being before I became a Christian. I don't want all that stuff coming out. You can't run for office, Mike. You have a public life on YouTube. People will comb through every minute of every video to find things to take out of context and smear you. Right? I think people should stop being slaves of two-party system. People like these should try different parties. It's rather hard to be a big party nominee. That's another thing. If I ever ran for office, I would run as an independent, and I would have zero chance. I don't want to run as a Republican. Why? Then enforce your own agenda and beliefs. Just take away the government's powers other than the protection of private property, policing, judicial systems, military. That's it. actually agree with you, Aaron, but how can you get there? People who think like you, Aaron, right? Who think like me, although we obviously have different opinions on some stuff, we'd have to get into the government in order to remove the power from government that creates the overreach of government. You can't do it from the outside. You can't picket and protest and whatnot. And you can't even this drives me nuts. If you're doing something the government doesn't want you to do, even through the vote, right? We've gotten it on the ballot twice here to break up the state of California. The first time, the powers that be said, oh, a bunch of your votes or a bunch of your signatures are invalid. The second time, the state legislature said it was unconstitutional. So you can't even do it through the process, right? You have to actually get in there. It's just like the way the left took over academia and the media. And it's just the way we can't change the media by not going to the box office, because obviously that doesn't change them. They still continue to create left-wing propagandistic garbage. And I know it's not the same thing, but it is the same thing. When you have people in positions of power that contradict your morality, your worldview, the only way to disrupt that system is for people with the correct morality and worldview to rise to the same level of power and withdraw the power from the government. I know, it sucks. This is not a perfect world. This is just the system we live in. You have to be in that position in order to do anything. You have to become the system to change the system. The thing is that too many people become the system and then lose sight of their ultimate goals. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Edwin says there seems to be a disconnect from turning online opinions into real-world action, though. The wife and I are going to do some phone banking for specific candidates this election. Right on, Aaron. Edwin. Sorry. Dennis says, finding good candidates to run is very hard. We worked hard to find good candidates and worked hard to get them elected. Yeah, because, it's a huge sacrifice. I mean, on a grand scale, look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump was a billionaire. He's probably losing billions in revenue over the course of these 8 years that he'll be in office. He's sacrificing to try to fix the system. And he's the most successful, what's the word? Decentralizer. He's basically, as much as he can from the position, decentralizing the authority. He's disrupting the status quo. And if we had more truly conservative or libertarian or some combination thereof people who got into those higher positions and could override the veto vote of the leftist psychos, then that's how we could make change. And that would take people of true faith. Someone whose faith is beyond their ambition. Right? I'm not going to sit here and say every pastor in the world should be a politician. Or run for office. Or have political power. But if your faith, if your principles are greater than your ambition, and God and the votes of the people put you into a position of power where you can exercise those principles without faltering, that's how you make change. But you can't do it from outside. You can't do it from outside. Aaron says, ask anybody 500 years ago, to whom does their life belong to? They would say the tribesman, the king, the emperor. Ask anybody now that question around the world, they would say, my life belongs to me. I don't know. I think that's a little hyperbolic, but I understand your point. I don't think 500 years ago everybody in the world would say that. My life belongs to God. And someone who doesn't have many scandals. Yeah, Nick. Like I said, I did bad things. Of course, you could do the George W. Bush, well, nothing counts. Nothing should count before I became a Christian. And it shouldn't, but it does. I gotta turn off internet today. Aw, Big Steve, that's too bad. I might be going offline for a week or two. Might get lucky if I poof. That's why. But I just want to let my friends know I'll find a way to appear until I get internet back. Right on, Big Steve. Steve Areno. All right, let's roll back up, see if there were any other comments that I missed. Fire Dragon says, refusing to give them money is working. It just takes time. Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down. Kirksman is off Star Trek. We'll see. We'll see. Thanks for speaking your mind, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Big Steve, for being here and being a part of this fellowship. Rhaegar says, I have no faith in a third party. On one hand, people are too lazy to inform themselves of principles to get behind it. Also, if you'd find the same corruption there. Also, MSM is too powerful to allow it. Yeah. I had faith in Ross Perot, though. He could have won. He could have been the first third party to really do something. And if Donald Trump decided that for his second run, he was going to run as an independent instead of as a Republican, I don't think the Republicans would put someone up against him. I don't know. That's all just pipe dreaming, I guess. Remember those young conservatives that were elected for Congress? Everyone had high hopes for them, but once in office, we don't hear from them. Sucked in by the corrupt system. Well, we heard from some of them for a while. And then the left targeted them for, every little misstep they made became, oh, look at this stupid, Republican, blah, blah, blah. And the establishment of Republicans steamrolled them. So we had that moment. We just, I think we need more and more and more until the principles of, I'm just going to call it conservative libertarian thinking rather than Republican, because the establishment Republicans are just as much a problem as establishment Democrats. That's weird. You have ideological Republicans, you have ideological Democrats, and then you have establishment Republicans and Democrats. And I don't think there's much difference between the two. If they're establishment, and then you have the people trying to pull the parties to the right and the left on the other end. Right, rolling back down to the bottom. Let's see. WK says Republicans are mostly weenies, but Democrats are mostly sinister. Do you remember a few years ago they were trying to pass a bill in Florida wherein the political party identification would not be allowed on the ballot? So people would have to actually research what the candidates believe in order to vote. Guess which party struck that down? It's not a difficult guess. It was the Democrats. Because there's a lot of people who just vote R or D, and honestly, it's lazy. It's lazy. The extremists play weak but are really evil at heart, and they use people as a shield. Who are you referring to? Peter, Mike. I don't know who you're talking to or talking about. Peter, Mike, and Aaron are having a conversation. Quality of life is higher than it has ever been in the first world, and people are the most nihilistic and unhappy they've ever been. Nobody lives modest and fulfilling lives anymore. I have a fulfilling life. Relatively modest as well. I mean, did you see this chair? Look at this chair. It's not supposed to do that. And honestly, it's like if I'm standing perfectly still, look at this. Let's tilt. I don't know how this happened. This happened last night. I came in this morning and my chair is now tilting to the left and it's gonna mess up my spine. I have to go get a new chair. This thing is done. I can't sit in this anymore. Am I modest or just cheap? I just don't want to spend things. If I know that I have money coming in, I'm not afraid to like buy something I need, but I'm just paranoid. Like I didn't get. I don't need to talk about all that. I'm not a wealthy guy. The money from Indiegogo is not. Forget it. I'm not going to talk about my finances. I'm paying my mortgage. I'm paying my car bills. I'm paying my bills. I'm okay with that, but I don't feel comfortable splurging on things like I really need a new chair. You know what? I can't sit like this. This is going to hurt my back. That's a good chair. That is a good chair. My kids killed it. Somebody killed it. Were you in here? No, you were in the living room. Matt C says, politics, schmolitics. I just want to convince you to baptize your babies. Why? Baptism is an outward expression of an internal decision. Babies don't have the capacity to make that decision. That's why they are unaccountable. It's gonna break on a live stream. It's already broke, yo. That chair is for work by a nutrient. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over to freaking piece of crap now. I'm gonna go over to Office Depot and get a new chair today. I'll need it. Don't knock the chair. It streams longer than you can. Get an X chair. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll go to Fry's instead. Fry's has these sick gaming chairs. Oh well. Fry's has these sick gaming chairs you can actually lay down in. It's so weird. They don't look like they should be able to lay down. Like it looks like it would tip over or something, but you can totally lay down in them. The whole back goes down like this, and somehow or another it doesn't just tip backwards. Those are sick. Maybe I will go get one of those. I do need it. I need a chair. I need a good chair. Just listen to EVS. He tries to help you, but he says you won't listen. Yeah, that's right. I don't listen to EVS. I mean, I'll I'll listen and I'll take what he says into consideration, and if I think he's right, I will follow that course of action. But sorry, he ain't the boss of me. You know what the third world lacks? Stuffs. More stuffs. Technology. I feel like you're saying that sarcastically, but technology is what makes lives better. Better. The stone mill is technology. The well is technology. The more advanced your technology, the easier your life is. Right? Instead of having to walk down to the river or walk down to the disgusting fecal infested pond to get water that will poison your children, you use the technology of a drill to hammer down into the ground and create a well. Right? That makes life easier. The fact that I can broadcast to you through this and get memberships and super chats and advertisement on my other on my monetized videos, that technology makes life easier. It makes communication easier. So I don't know if you're being sarcastic. It seems like you were, but maybe you're not. But absolutely, stuff, technology, yes, that is what makes everyone's life better and easier. Like, auction off your busted chair. I wouldn't want to ship it. I wouldn't want to ship it. Get an X chair. What? What time is it? I feel like I'm almost at an hour here. Oh, yeah. 57 and a half minutes. So we got 2.5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Baptisms are primarily Catholic, isn't it? Infant baptisms are Catholic and Eastern Orthodox, I believe. And they're both wrong. Well, wrong. Let's just say they're both unbiblical. Aaron says, yes, definitely. Stuffs and technology and services and products are the expression of free rational minds finding meaning in their own inventive productivity. See, this is the part of objectivism I absolutely agree with. Matt C., okay. Why were infant boys in the Old Testament circumcised before they believed? Seems God would have waited until they graduated to an age of accountability. Also, more foot streams. No. Circumcision is a dedication to the covenant, right? The covenant of the Israelites, being a Jew. Why were they circumcised on the 8th day? Because lo and behold, that is the day when the I think it's vitamin K levels and the immune system are at a peak in an infant's life. So that is the day, if you're going to ever circumcise a child, that's the day you want to do it. The 8th day of life. Weird how God knew that, and we didn't figure it out until the 20th century. But, yeah, that's a covenant. That is not a personal decision of faith. That is the covenant of the Jews. So not the same thing. DJ says, I think Christians of all denominations have read most of the Bible, myself included, but few have read the entire thing. That's why I'd like to get through it too. I hate to say this, I think most Christians, most church-going Christians even, have not read the Bible. Are we back on circumcision examinations? No, we're not. Shouldn't we have some credence to church fathers' tradition of pedo-baptism? No. That's one thing that Christ spoke out vehemently against, was tradition overriding the Word of God. Right? So, infant baptism, yeah, it's a tradition, but it is unbiblical. I don't think it's necessary. Well, okay, the way I've seen some Orthodox Christians do it, that seems freaking ridiculous. But the way Catholics do it, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. It's just unbiblical. And if they want to get together and have a christening, see, to me, if you want to look at an infant baptism as a dedication of your child, that you are going to raise that child in the faith, I mean, there's nothing wrong. It's just a bath. You're just dipping the kid in water. Actually, in some cases, I think they're just putting water in the head, so it doesn't hurt anybody. So I don't see anything necessarily wrong with it. I'm just saying it. If you're actually saying it's a baptism, like somehow or another this saves the baby, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's just completely 150% unbiblical. Saying most Christians have read most or all of the Bible is unfortunately really charitable. Yeah, I know. It is. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I do have things to do today. I got to go get a chair. I don't want to go get a chair, but I think I need to. Other than that, love to you all. Thanks, the 50 of you who stuck it out. And have a great day. I will see you here again for something later. So, hey, have a great day. God bless.